Hey guys, Coach Ed Haynes here from Coastal Fitness Performance Training, home of CSTL, to bring you our tips on 17.4. So, as we've been doing, initial thoughts. A repeat. I think a lot of us guessed that it was going to be 16.4 given the movements that were left. First workout I've actually guessed right in a very, very long time. Good thing about doing repeat workouts is, personally, it's a chance for you to gauge and measure progress over the last year or however long it's been. But secondly, there's a ton of data on the workout. There's data in a sense that if you go into the CrossFit leaderboard, you can see what a good score is, what an okay score is, and what maybe a not so good score is. You can compare your scores to people that you know who are a similar ability level of you as you. If you did the workout last year, you can of course review your score, and if you still have your video, I'll talk about that a little bit later, you can be reviewing that. But it's always a great thing to throw in a repeat workout, both for the RX and scale division. Always think when I see deadlifts, and especially a moderately heavy deadlift come up in the open, especially thinking about our members, is just be careful with the deadlift. It's a movement that you can always lift off the floor, but you can lift with good form and be healthy and live a long life, and you can lift with very poor form and not be healthy and probably not have a very long life. So what we're going to remind you guys, always form before intensity, but especially with something like a deadlift. If you did the workout last year, watch your video. That should be the first thing you should be doing. Look at your strategy, and when it comes to building your strategy, assuming that you put in some hard work this year and that you have built on your capacity, then I would be placing a strategy that's going to be a little bit faster than whatever you did last year. But that's at your own discretion. Obviously, you have to think about your own training and how much you put in there. If you haven't filmed yourself, or you didn't film yourself last year, but you know people who are of a similar ability level to yourself, speak to them, watch their video, or if they remember their strategy, yeah, it's just a good thing to speak to those kind of people because it's going to give you an idea of how to approach the workout. Moving on to pacing next, break your deadlifts early. If that weight is close to your 1 rep max, do not be afraid to go into singles from the start. If it is close to your 1 rep max, this is going to be a deadlift workout. You're probably going to spend a lot of the time just slowly chipping away through those deadlifts. Be under no false illusions that you can do sets of 5 at a weight that's 90 to 95% of your 1 rep max. It will catch up with you very, very quickly, and you will get bottlenecked. So it's all about putting in a smart pacing strategy there and breaking very, very early. Even if that weight is a long way from your 1 rep max, I would still recommend breaking early. Deadlifts will light up your posterior chain. It will jack up your midline. You're going to get breathing very, very quickly. There's going to be a lot of blood flow moving from the top, upper to lower extremities of the body. So just be wary if you do go into a very big set to start, or try and bite off big chunks rather than small chunks. It's just not a very good way to start a 13-minute workout. Wall balls, same thing again, break these up early, probably more than you think. Especially those of you who think you're going to get to the handstand push-ups or the hand release push-ups in the scaled. I'm going to get through a ton of reps there, or hope to. Bear in mind that two very similar movements. It's front loaded, anterior loaded. It's going to be fatiguing through the shoulders, through the triceps, and those are exactly what you need to be knocking out handstand push-ups. So if you do go into a big set early on those wall balls, there's definitely going to be some residual fatigue that's going to affect you in the hand release push-ups and the handstand push-ups. Row, slow and steady. If you have time on the clock and you know that you're going to finish the row and get onto the handstand push-ups or the hand release push-ups, you really want to use that opportunity to actually recover somewhat. There's no point in hammering a row. Going up anywhere to 200 to 300 calories per hour faster on a row equates to about 4 to 5 seconds max. That extra exertion in terms of energy is not worth the reward you get from 5 seconds more time. It's much better just to pace that row and recover so that you can come off and get straight into chipping away at chunks of your handstand push-ups. The only exception to that being if you get onto the row and you know that your workout is going to finish on a row because a time cap is approaching, then you need to go hard and you need to go fast and you need to empty the tank on that row. That's the only exception. Handstand push-ups and hand release push-ups, again, small sets. You definitely want to stay well away from any failing reps, and I say this a lot, but when you're having to bite off a big chunk of reps in a chipper style workout, the moment you get to just squeaking out a rep or almost failing a rep, you're going to have to stand there and rest for a considerably long time before you can actually recharge and go again. So make sure that your breaks are done well ahead of when you're actually going to fail a rep. That goes for both the hand release push-ups and the handstand push-ups. Handstand push-uppers obviously go for kipping versus strict. Put emphasis onto your hips and make sure you're really aggressively kipping and extending up, doing as little work with your shoulders, which are already going to be somewhat fatigued. Those of you who get back onto the deadlifts, not too much to say there other than you just got to go hard. Basically, based on how much time you have left will dictate how big a sets you go. If you have 2 minutes left on the clock, stick with a smaller braking strategy, but keep your rest shorter. If you only have 30 seconds, you've got to pick up the bar and just hold on for as long as you can. Some reminders. Firstly, read the standards. We say it to you every week. Don't rely on your coach to tell you because it's a lot to take in just before you're about to work out. Read the standards immediately. There have been some changes to handstand push-ups in terms of the width of the box. I believe it's regional standard now. And they've also changed one thing on the deadlift in terms of your finishing position. Make sure you're really clued up on that and you're aware. To RX or to scale, really the deciding factor is going to be the deadlift weight. If you can deadlift that weight in the RX division with good form and it's not 99% or 100% of your 1 rep max, then we're going to advocate that you go for that. With that said, if that deadlift weight is over your 1 rep max, today is not the day to be trying to get 55 new 1RMs. Be smart, be sensible, do the scale division. This is a very taxing workout if it's too heavy for you. Belt or no belt, I get asked this a lot. It really depends on whether you've been used to training with a belt in your training. If you've never used a belt before, don't suddenly throw in it now. There's something you need to adapt to and get used to because it does constrict breathing quite a bit and that can freak people out if they're not used to it. With that said, if you've been used to training with a belt, I would be using a belt potentially for that first set of deadlifts and just loosening it in between reps just to allow for maximal breathing through your diaphragm. Lifters, if you're restricted in your squats, then obviously you're going to need to pass below parallel on a wall ball. Olympic lifting shoes might not be a bad idea. It doesn't necessarily negatively affect your deadlift. If anything, it can actually help in your row by giving you a better pull position, and it will help you achieve more depth in your wall balls. Just a last little thing on warm-up, as we always talk about. In terms of movement and mobility, you need to address positioning in your hinge. So basically posterior chain, we're looking at lumbar, thoracic, glutes, hamstrings, everything down there, as well as your squat position. And last week we posted the squat warm-up. We'll do that again. Make sure your hips are nice and free and you're able to execute a good air squat. Address overhead mechanics if you're planning to get to handstand push-ups. Otherwise, if you're doing the hand release push-ups in the scaled, make sure you address shoulder extension. So the ability to move back this way, because a hand release push-up demands more shoulder extension. So it's important you warm that part of your shoulder up. Once you've gone through your positional work, and that can be done before you get into the gym, it can be done at home or get in early with plenty of time to spare. Go through a general warm-up. Make sure you're really you're firing up your aerobic system. There's going to be nothing lactic here or kind of all out until the very last 30 seconds to a minute of this workout. But generally speaking, there's going to be a lot of like respiratory. There's going to be a lot of like just general aerobic capacity. And obviously some localized muscle endurance, so make sure you're just getting a ton of blood flow in before the workout and you're raising tissue temperature. And then you're gonna go into somewhat of a specific warm-up where you're basically gonna have your station set up or something that looks like your station. You're gonna go through a broken down version of the workout, for example, 2 to 5 deadlifts, depending upon how you're gonna approach it. Then you're gonna go over to your wall balls, do anywhere between 5 to 10 reps. Then you're gonna go to your row 10 to 15 calories. Go to your handstand push-ups, your hand release push-ups, go to 5 to 10 reps. Rest 1 minute to 2 minutes, kind of play around and mobilize what needs to be mobilized. Go and do that again, and then within the next kind of 2 minutes, you want to get out there and hit the workout. That is it from me, guys. Good luck to everyone. Remember, safety first, always. Remember what your goals are and what your priorities are. If your goal is to not go to regionals, just always please remember, movement integrity comes first before intensity. Good luck to everyone, guys, and see you next week.